wanted to give a SmackDown recap in case, you missed it. And also give my reactions / opinions, on things that happen. Let's do it. SmackDown took place in Montreal, Canada. And we start off with the one, the only, the never seen 17, John Cena. If you can't tell by all that, John Cena is one of my favorite wrestlers. So John comes out to like an amazing pop. The crowd's just like, oh! There's like this little boy who's just like me for real in person, like a live version of me in the crowd when John comes out. It was great. So John comes out, it's really loud pop, and people are going crazy. He's babyface again, finally. So after that happens, John basically gets in the ring, and he kind of talks about how we have about 11 dates left before he officially retires, and how, Montreal is kind of like a big place in terms of things happening in wrestling. Then he goes into being more vulnerable with the crowd about his fears and kind of how he fears that we'll possibly forget about him. And, he wants to leave things better than, he left them type of situation. So after that, he basically says he's scared, and he addresses Brock Lesnar. And also he turns to address like other people in the locker room. And he's like, if you want some, come get some. Logan Paul comes out. Logan Paul's like, John, it's a phony. Ugh. Like, John, they tell John what to say, blah, blah, blah. So then it becomes a thing of John Cena versus Logan Paul, and it's kind of the assumption that they're going to fight. So then Logan's like, no, you guys don't deserve that. A better city deserves that. And he says Clash in Paris. So then John accepts. So then while John and Logan are doing their back and forth, Drew McIntyre attacks John Cena from behind. After that happens, Cody Rhodes comes out, and he basically helps John. So then Logan and Drew exit out of the ring, and then John's like, oh, we can do 2 versus 2 tonight. Basically being Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul versus John Cena and Cody Rhodes. And then John ends it with, the champ is here, with Cody Rhodes. Not with John, Cody Rhodes. Hurt my heart, but I understand. Because it's more so, I'm looking at it in a viewpoint of like passing the torch situation, so I get it. It just hurts because I love John Cena so much, so it's just like, no, don't go. So, yeah, that wraps up the first part of SmackDown. Next up, we have tag team action. The MFTs, who are with Solo Sikoa, and those two are Jason Mateo that fought, and Tala Tonga. He's so huge. I never get over that. I'm just like, he's a big guy. But they fight Motor City Machine Guns. That tag match was really good. But of course it would be. You have great talent in the ring. So the match ends with the MFTs winning. And then Solo gets in the ring, and he's like, oh, I'm dressed all in my gear. I have nobody to fight. Out of all the places I could fight, I'm not going to fight in Montreal. And then he does his little mannerisms where he's just like, which I love. Solo's great. So then Nick Aldis comes out, and he's just like, well, no, you're going to fight. And I have the perfect person for you to fight. You guys love him and know him. And then Sami Zayn comes out. His music hits. He's from Canada. Place goes crazy. So Solo and Sami put on a banger. Definitely a really good match. So basically what happens is MFTs basically try to interfere in the match, and they kind of try to cause distractions in a sense, like Jason Mateo appears on one side to talk to the referee, and then maybe he gets down, Sami attacks him. Then on the other end you have Tala Tonga appearing to like bother the referee, and then eventually a Solo tries to beat Sami, but he misses, and Sami does a roll up, and then Sami like scurries out of the ring so fast, which I don't blame him because he was definitely gonna get laid out. He scurries out of the ring, he gets his win on Solo Sikoa, and that was it for that. So after that, we have a segment backstage with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte is basically like, oh, I know your birthday's tomorrow, which is today. And she's like, oh, I know your birthday's tomorrow. I have a surprise for you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, we're going to go to the ring so I can show you. So they get in the ring. And basically, there's this big cake. And it says, congratulations. And it says, like, Charlotte Flair. And then you have Alexa Bliss's name really tiny. So Alexa's just like, your name's on this. And she's like, no, your name's right there. See, it's really tiny, but it's at the bottom. So then she's like, I have another gift for you. And Alexa's hesitant. She's like, Charlotte, you do not have to do this. We're not even friends. We're just tag partners, right? And Charlotte is insisting. She's like, no, I have another gift. They do kind of a back and forth with this other gift, which is in a box. And eventually, Charlotte takes out a Lily doll, and she gives it to Alexa. And then she takes out a Charlie doll, which is basically when Charlotte and Alexa had their feud. It's a doll that Alexa gave to Charlotte. And Charlotte makes fun of it. She's like, I know this thing is so ugly and blah, blah. But the dolls have like, you know, the we're not friends. And she kind of is like, you know, these dolls are like us. We're not friends. But here you go. So then she's like, you may hug me. And Alexa's like, what? And then Charlotte kind of peer pressures her to hug her. And Alexa looks so just like cringed by it. As she's scooting to do it though, Chelsea Green comes out and she interrupts and she just bashes Montreal. And then she talks about how they're basically like clapping and applauding like fake Americans and whatnot. So then Nick Aldis comes out and he basically tells Chelsea she's gonna have a match with Charlotte. So they have a match. It's pretty good. And basically Chelsea towards the end, she tells the Secret Harvest to get the cake that Charlotte got for Alexa. They slide the cake in this really like funny way. And then she basically tries to do like her finisher onto Charlotte. Charlotte reverses it though, and then Chelsea falls face first into the cake and Charlotte gets the win. So after that, Charlotte and Alexa eat some of the cake. Chelsea just is looking crazy, just like, and just kind of looking crazy in the ring. So then that segment ends. Next up, we get this really crazy promo from the Wyatt Six. Basically them, you know, reiterating how they're here. And, you know, they always talk about kind of dismantling the tag division in a sense. And then we cut to the Street Profits talking. And then DIY comes in. And they kind of show Candace, her leg is bruised from the ladder. And they kind of go back and forth. And Montez is like, husband of the year right here. Because, like, Johnny basically, like, pushed her off the ladder and watched and didn't, like, help her. So then Nick Aldis comes up and he basically tells them they're going to have a tag match next week. DIY versus Street Profits. We then cut to Carmelo Hayes, which I was so happy to see. I've missed Carmelo Hayes so much. We cut to Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is walking to Nick Aldis's door to knock on it. As he is walking and about to knock, The Miz opens the door. And he's just like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. So then Carmelo's like, no, where have you been? You left me high and dry for 2 months. Because remember, they were like a thing, you know, and The Miz was kind of like a mentor and I'm going to push you to the moon and blah, blah, but then he disappeared. So he's like rightfully so frustrated with The Miz. And then The Miz is just like, well, no, you can't just go in and get everything you want type of thing, because Carmelo had the intention to go ask Nick Aldis for a shot at Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. So The Miz is like, no, you know, it took me forever to get to where I wanted to be and this and that. Things take time. So then he's like, I just asked Nick Aldis if me and you can have a tag match next week. So then he's like, we're awesome. And then Carmelo's like, okay, you got it, whatever. And then Nick Aldis comes and I guess the Miz basically lied. And then he's just like, great, I have to talk to you about something. Basically him making the plans that he just told Carmelo he already had. So I can't wait to see what happens with Carmelo and the Miz. I think it's going to be a pretty good feud. So next up, Kathy Kelly is backstage with Tiffany Stratton. And she's basically, you know, like, what's next for you? You know, you just beat Jade. And Tiffany's just like, I'm the champion, you know. Whatever happens, happens type of thing. So then Jade comes up and she's just like, well, just know if your foot wasn't on the rope, I'd be the champ right now, blah, blah, blah. And Tiffany's just like, well, no, it's still Tiffy time. The results are always going to be the same. So then you have Kiana James and Julia come up. And Kiana James is like, hey, have you ever want a shot? Or you want a tight opportunity for anything? You know, here's my card. And Jade's like, whatever. So then Julia and Kiana walk off. So then Mishan comes up. And she's just like, are you going to use that card? And Jade's like, no. And she's like, good, I want a shot at the United States Championship. I'm here for that. I feel like she needs to be on TV more too. So I think that's going to be really interesting for sure. And I also like that Kiana James is with Julia, because at some point, obviously, something's going to happen where someone turns on somebody. And I'm excited to see what happens with Kiana James. Next up, we cut to an Aleister Black promo, which was amazing. He basically talked about Damian Priest and how he basically dismantled him and how he's going to be on his head. And it was great. And he was like, you know, Damian is out for whatever. I think something's like fractured. I forgot exactly what he said it was. It was like a long medical word that I would probably butcher. But, you know, Damian's out for a little bit. So can't wait for him to come back, because I wish that their match was longer than what it was, because it was a really good match. That's definitely, to me, like a pay-per-view worthy kind of match. They have really good in-ring chemistry. John Cena walking through the halls, being the never seen 17 that he is, the fine man that he is, the GOAT that he is, Billy Goat John Cena, walking through the backstage, and then he stumbles across Ron Killings. And they do this funny, like, whoa, you're different, I'm different, you know? So then Ron R-Truth, he's like, oh my gosh, you're back. And they kind of hug. And then he's just like, John kind of gaslights him. And he's just like, yeah, you know, like, I'm happy that you're back too, you know? You made a kid cry in Brussels and this and that. And he was like, that was crazy. And he basically, like, blamed R-Truth for the stuff that he actually did. It was really funny. With that, I like that R-Truth and John Cena are going to be back, right? In, like, babyface situation. I did want to see R-Truth, you know, be Ron Killings and himself, though. I feel like that could have been really good. I'm not losing faith on it 100%, but I would like to see it. So then we cut to the main event, which is basically Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul versus John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Most of the match, Cody's kind of in the ring, and he's getting stomped out. He eventually tags Cena. Cena does, you know, 5-knuckle shuffle, and you can't see me. Great times. Logan Paul eventually, like, low blows John Cena, and then they kind of fight and end up, you know, going backstage fighting. So then Drew McIntyre, he basically hits Cody with his title, his championship. And then Cody is laid beside the announce desk. And Drew just looks really unhinged. And he claymores him. He claymores him basically in the head through the announce desk. And it was amazing. I know it sounds really bad, but it was great in a sense because Drew McIntyre... And then he talks crazy to him while he's laid out. Drew McIntyre is somebody I feel like he should have a title. I feel like he's doing amazing work right now as his character being heel. Like, I'm assuming we're going to get Cody and Drew at Clash in Paris. And I would love if Drew McIntyre beat Cody Rhodes. I feel like he deserves a championship right now. I think it'd be so entertaining because he's so unhinged and he's a menace to society. And he's just great all around. Yes. Definitely yes. 1,000 yeses. But that is what happened on SmackDown. I believe I covered everything fully. Sorry if I didn't. I think I did, though. But yeah, that's what happened on SmackDown. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.